transformation will help on the macroeconomic side, will help the central bank to have more reserves, but also will create jobs.
President Tinubu makes case for more strategic investments in Africa.
Give them what they want, but give them timelines to achieve it.
Senate to evaluate ramifications for possible negotiations with bandits.
It's left for the court to adjudicate on. That is the adjudication process.
The position of the court is yet to be known until on the 13th when to resume for ruling.
Legal proceedings continue on NTA Kano Emirate tussle as Federal High Court fixes date for hearing on jurisdiction. Good evening and welcome to the Talk News on NTA. I am Jumwe Yusuf. Benny Adams is on standby tonight for business news. Remember, you can watch this news broadcast live on nta.live.ng and other social media platforms displayed on your screen. Tonight, we begin with President Bola Tinubu's call on international development financiers to see Africa as a destination for growth and prosperity. The president made the call when he received a delegation of the International Finance Corporation, a member of the World Bank, at the State House. State House correspondent Musbau Wahab reports.
President Bola Tinubu is getting more support for the priority areas he has set for his administration. The International Finance Corporation, IFC, under the World Bank Group, is the new addition to the list of potential partners. The financial institution, with second largest portfolio in Africa, is ready to invest more in the largest economy on the continent. And the president is setting the priorities as he urged global financiers, including the IFC, to consider more strategic investments in agriculture, infrastructure, research and development on the continent. But in this, President Tinubu said the world has to see Africa as a continent that can help the rest of the world and not as backward, unstable and with leadership problems. He pointed out that Nigeria is ready to change the narrative by collaborating with the rest of the world to see Africa as a destination for growth and prosperity, highlighting the importance of some critical infrastructure projects embarked upon by his administration, such as the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and the Sokoto-Badagry Expressway. President Tinubu expressed belief that such projects will uplift the living standard of people in the rural areas of the country. President Tinubu got a positive response from the IFC delegation as the managing director informed him that his institution is already engaging some Nigerian partners to enhance agriculture, increase food production through irrigation, upgrade transport networks, and bolster regional integration. He announced a loan of more than $23 million to an agribusiness company in the country.
We are investing largely in fertilizer and would like now to invest more in large-scale agriculture. And the president has given us his support and blessing to go in that direction.
He says the IFC is also supporting small and medium enterprises to ensure value addition in the agricultural sector.
Because when you export raw cocoa beans, it brings you $1 on your reserves. When you export a transformed product, you have $3. So this transformation will help on the macroeconomic side, will help the central bank to have more reserves, but also will create jobs.
The financial institution is, however, conversing local currency lending to companies interested to invest in Nigeria. From the State House, Musbau and Wahab, NTA News.
Now, we are hearing that plans are underway to formalize over 1 million businesses in Nigeria at a discounted rate, with the inclusion of ICT facilities in the Federal MSMEs Clinic. Vice President Kashim Shettima made the disclosure earlier today at the launch of the third expanded National MSMEs Clinic in Ekiti State. Olukemi Sani has details.
Vice President Kashim Shettima said the expanded National Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic was designed to provide solutions to the challenges hindering the development of MSMEs, help business owners have access to capital, formalize their businesses, and enjoy government support. The Vice President, who highlighted the critical roles of micro, small, and medium enterprises in driving economic growth, creating jobs, and promoting innovation, emphasized President Bola Tinubu's commitment in fostering an enabling environment as promised in his electioneering campaign.
Let me ensure that all outstanding exhibiting MSMEs at the clinic today receive a grant of 150,000 naira.
I will devote the substance of my constituency project allocation for the year 2025 to boost what we are doing here today.
And through you, sir, convey our deepest appreciation to Mr. President. Mr. President has been a father indeed. Everything promised when the president campaign is fulfilling them.
The Vice President, during his visit, inspected the Adire Ekiti hub, where over 600 young entrepreneurs in fashion business were empowered to support the local textile industry, while also commissioning the 3-kilometer Omission Jano Ikere Road in the state capital. He was also at the palace of the Ewe of Adire Ekiti, Oba Rufus Adejugbe, for royal blessings.
In Adire Ekiti, Olukemi Soni, NTA News.
In the meantime, Nigerians are getting more assurances of quality service delivery on corporate governance from top government officials in the drive to achieving set development goals under the Bola Tinubu administration. Aisha Uba Ali reports on the inauguration of B6, B12 and cycle roads in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory, where President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, represented President Bola Tinubu.
Of most FCT residents, especially when they hear the Abuja master plan, means that the innovations we are seeing today wouldn't have taken place.
It is a galore of project commissioning by the FCT administration. Executive Secretary FCDA Shehu Hadi Ahmed, while enumerating the importance of the rehabilitation of the road, popularly known as Independence Way, to guests, says this will give easy access in and out of the city.
Ways. What we have close to the main carriageways are to allow in future for the retinue of traffic circulation using mass transit bus system.
FCT Minister Nyesom Wike says the project, awarded in 2007 at the cost of 48.5 billion naira, was reviewed in January 2021, 17 years after.
Ministry of Finance encroached. There was supposed to be a road leading to that side, so I want to please bring the Mr. President to talk to them so that we'll be able to complete that side of the road. And we commission these strategic goals. We are not just opening pathways from asphalt and concrete. We are also paving the way for enhanced economic activities, improve accessibility, and a higher quality of life for our citizens.
The FCT administration says the support of the area council chairman cannot be underestimated in the overall development of the Federal Capital Territory. Aisha Uba Ali, NTA News.
Now let's bring you news from the legislature, as the Senate has suggested the establishment of a task force to evaluate the effectiveness and implications of negotiating with bandits. Now, this is to enable the conduct of thorough analysis on the short-term gains and long-term consequence of such decision. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali tells us more.
The suggestion is sequel to a motion sponsored by Senator Nasiru Sani Zangon and other senators from Northwest Region.
The governors of the states in Northwest Region affirm their commitment to supporting and acceptable and workable initiatives that promote peace, security, and development in the region.
The action required now goes beyond the review of our security architecture.
Lawmakers urge security agencies to improve strategies that will further secure communities and farmlands to prevent food shortage.
Give them what they want, but give them timelines to achieve it. Once people know that they're going to lose their positions, they will act.
Terrorism has global dimension. It's something that a problem that other countries are also facing. But from the posture of Mr. President, from what he's doing, I'm sure it will be a matter of time that this problem will be surmounted.
The recent landslide in Shiroro local government area of Niger State, in which 30 miners were buried alive, was raised by Senator Sani Musa, leading the Senate to urge authorities to enforce mining regulations.
It is imperative to scale the mining sites in order to forestall future occurrences and avoid further loss of life.
Meanwhile, Senate has passed the National Anti-Doping Bill to curb doping in sports. The 2024 supplementary budget of the FCT passed second reading,
resulting to a revised total FCT IRS 2024 statutory revenue appropriation to the sum of 348 billion.
Senate confirmed the appointment of Emomotimi Agama as Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission and 3 commissioners. Also confirmed is the appointment of Kayode Oladele as member of the Federal Character Commission. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And at the House of Representatives, the lawmakers passed the Federal Capital Territory 2024 Supplementary Appropriation Bill of 98.5 billion earmarked for capital expenditure only. National Assembly correspondent Mitere Ikben reports that the executive bill is to facilitate the execution of capital projects in the nation's capital.
Chairman House Committee on FCT, Aliu Betara, presented the FCT supplementary appropriation at the Committee on Supply, where lawmakers passed the executive bill.
To authorize the issue of the Federal Capital Territory Administration statutory revenue funds for the Federal Capital Territory Administration account, the sum of 98.5 billion.
Approve clauses 1 to 5, which is the recommendation 1 to 5, the schedule, explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill.
The House adopted a motion seeking investigation of the abandoned dredging of the Calabar Seaport.
To re-award the dredging of the seaport to a reputable company with a mandate to complete the project within a specified time frame. Also, urge the Nigeria Port Authority to supervise the project and ensure a standard depth is established to enable large vessels to bet in line with the best global practice.
Lawmakers expressed concern over slow development of renewable energy as an alternative in the power sector.
In 2020, the federal government launched a 200 million renewable energy project tagged Nigeria Electrification Project. Investigates agencies associated with this investment meant to develop renewable energy sector from 2015 to date.
At the Committee of the Whole, the House considered and passed separate bills for the establishment of the Nigeria Correctional Service Trust Fund, as well as the North Central and Southwest Development Commissions. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
To other news now, the federal government has kick-started freight rail services linking the Apapa Port, Lagos, and Dala Inland Port in Kano State. The development opens a new vista on the ease of doing business, especially movement of goods from the port to the hinterlands. Musa Baba Aliu reports.
Before now, there was a trial of movement of 40-feet import containers from Apapa Port in Lagos to Dala Dry Port in Kano, covering a distance of 1,132 kilometers, with 5 locomotive drivers changing stations at Ibadan, Oyo State, Ofa, Kwara State, Mokwa and Mina, Niger State, and Kaduna junctions.
We did that under caution, no night movement, and the line was preceded by what we call a rail bus and security and engineering men to ensure that the track is safe, the train and the goods are delivered, without hitches.
Confirmation of the integrity of the rail brought about this inaugural takeoff of the railway services in Dala Dry Port in Kano State. Minister of Transportation Saidu Ahmed Al-Kali said the railway route will create numerous opportunities for businesses and facilitate the movement of import and export of goods between the north and the south.
That will bring down the cost of transportation. That impliedly bring down the cost of doing business, because the amount you are going to pay on road certainly will be different from the one you will pay on rail.
Kano State government appreciated the foresight of the federal government in ensuring that the Dala Dry Port commenced operation.
We are looking forward to more cooperation and collaboration between your ministry and Kano State government.
The Dala Dry Port will also be connected to the standard rail line under construction that will link Lagos, Kano and Maradi in Niger Republic. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Don't forget, we have more news when we return from this commercial break. And talking about new and better opportunities for growth, the prospects are looking good for the Nigerian media industry as the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation launches a digital audience measurement system for the broadcast media. The Minister, Mohammed Idris, says it is a transformative drive that aligns with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision for a more prosperous and technologically advanced Nigeria. Saliu Guanara reports.
Audience measurement system.
Stakeholders from within and across the country are here to witness the birth of an audience measurement system with the capacity of making the broadcast industry in Nigeria globally competitive.
After this launch, all advertisers, media planners, will have enough measurement to calculate what is being spent and how this money is going out. What is the return on advertising investment?
The industry will grow, the revenues will be tracked, and there's so much development that will come into content development.
As one of the legacy projects of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, the Minister, Mohammed Idris, rolled out the benefits of this gesture.
A transparent and reliable audience measurement system will attract greater investment into the media sector, driving economic growth and creating job opportunities. It will also enhance Nigeria's reputation as a market with robust and trustworthy media analytics.
One of the things that we really need in order to really give us the tools necessary to grow both my sector and your sector. So thank God that we have this data tracking tool.
You've heard from the minister, we'll be giving them all the necessary support. So we're going to give them the legislative framework, the back end, because even while they develop this package, they still need an act.
Already, there is the projection from this new system that Nigeria has more than 35 million television viewers.
This is going to add a lot of value because quality is going to be key now, and you have to stand out to be counted. And for us, we are going to give all the necessary backings to see that this project succeeds.
People will watch programs with their life, and then advertisers will advertise on those programs, and more money will go back to the industry. It's a great day for Nigeria.
This system is expected to serve as a cornerstone for reliable data for accurate and comprehensive insights into media consumption patterns across various demography. In Abuja, Saliu Guanara, NTA News.
In other news, Nigeria's gas production drive gets a boost with the official launch of the Kwale Integrated Gas Processing Plant in Delta State. A new gas gathering facility will harness and convert natural gas resources into valuable products for domestic use and export. Susan Esso reports that the project was inaugurated by the Minister for Petroleum Resources.
Natural gas utilization and monetization has been under intense focus over the years in Nigeria. This is as a result of the environmental impact of gas flaring. The construction of this 300 million standard cubic feet per day Kwale gas gathering facility is an answer to one of the pressing needs in the energy sector. Minister of State for Petroleum Ekperikpe Ekpo says the project is in line with the federal government's plan of making Nigeria a gas-powered economy by 2030.
In addition to being essentially infrastructural development, the Kwale gas gathering facility, the Nedo gas plants, mark a dramatic improvement in our country's capacity to extract and use natural gas resources.
For the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board, Felix Ogbe, the Kwale gas gathering facility exemplifies the board's mandate of promoting the development and utilization of local capacity in the oil and gas industry.
The Nedo gas plant will significantly enhance our ability to harness and convert natural gas resources into valuable products for domestic use and export.
It's not just a hub, but it also allows all the stranded gas in the area to be harnessed for the benefit of the people.
Governor Sheriff Oboroweri, who was represented by his deputy Monday Onyeme, lauds the giant initiative, especially as it has created job opportunities through direct and indirect labor.
With these projects, the energy needs of Nigeria will get a boost, especially in the critical area of supply.
The inauguration of the Kwale gas gathering facility by the Minister of State for Petroleum opens a new chapter in gas production in Delta State and Nigeria as a whole. From Kwale, Susan Isu, NTA News.
A federal high court sitting in Kano has reserved ruling on whether or not it has jurisdiction on the Kano Emirship tussle till 13th June 2024. The presiding judge, Justice Abdullahi Muhammad Liman, gave the verdict after counsel to parties in the matter addressed the court on the issue of jurisdiction. Mohammed Balasani reports.
It could be recalled that last week on the 3rd of June was slated for hearing, but due to NLC and organized private sector strike, the hearing on jurisdiction on the matter took place today. Presiding over the matter, Judge M.A. Liman said entertaining the case over jurisdiction is first paramount before hearing of both parties. Counsel to the plaintiff, Muhammad Saidu Waziri, said the ante will be maintained before ruling on the said date, while counsel to the defendant, Mahmoud Magaji, said they will honor any ruling in their favor.
The position of the court is yet to be known until on the 13th when it will resume for ruling. The court has stated clearly, the court asked us several questions, we answered. Those of us who said the court has resumed, we answered. And then as far as we are concerned, looking at the law, this court has jurisdiction to entertain this case. We have addressed the court the best way we know it, and we brought authorities. It's left for the court to adjudicate on. That is the adjudication process.
13th of June is the expected date for ruling at the Kano State Federal High Court. Mohammed Balasani, NTA News.
For an update on the FG Labour negotiation, the three of the ongoing negotiation for a new national minimum wage has been described as largely progressive and indicative of the willingness of all the parties to reach an agreement. Minister of State, Labour and Employment Nkiruka Oyejiacha and President, Nigeria Labour Congress, Joseph Ajero, says parties are closing ranks and there is a possibility of coming up with a considerable amount for all by tomorrow.
You will hear the updates when we finalize. We are still on the talks, and so we will tell you when we conclude. Everything is going on fine, and I believe God.
Nigerians will get a report.
Are we giving you a figure?
Not yet.
What about the template that the president gave them for 8 hours to present?
Maybe they are going to present it in a committee. So we are still at our position before now. And I know that government, having not presented it, is still at their position.
The third day of engagement lasted for more than 5 hours, with various representatives disengaging at intervals to consult before returning to the negotiation. The committee will be meeting again tomorrow. To other matters now, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, is appealing to religious leaders to use their good offices and influence to propagate peace, unity and social cohesion among Nigerians. For matters of governance and politics, he is suing for constructive criticism and increased public support for the government. The SGF made the plea while addressing the second quarter of the National Executive Council meeting of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, in Abuja. Kenneth Nani reports.
With the current economic situation in the country, citizens no doubt need information on what is being done by the government to stimulate the economy for a better life for all. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, aligns with this aspiration. He points to procurement of CNG buses, ongoing revolution in the agricultural sector, palliative distribution among states, road infrastructure development projects across the nation as part of efforts to make the economy viable. Tackling insecurity, establishment of students' loan scheme and the provision of affordable housing are also some of the tangible programs and projects by the current administration, which the SGF says is geared towards economic growth and human capacity development. However, the SGF expresses displeasure over the recent strike action by the organized labor. He explains that President Tinubu feels the pains of the masses and is committed to a national minimum wage that will be acceptable by all parties.
We are all working for a common good to rejuvenate the economy. We are moving ahead. We want to arrive at what the President will finally told, and then we send to the National Assembly.
He also notes some of the concerns raised by the CAN leadership on national issues. Kenneth Nanem, NTA News.
Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, has reiterated the imperatives for aligning educational outcomes with the labor market by bridging the skills gap through strategic policies and collaborations across public and private sectors. The minister made this known at a critical meeting with stakeholders to advance the Nigerian Skills Qualification Framework, a pivotal initiative aimed at enhancing the skills and employability of the Nigerian youth. To achieve this, the minister announced the establishment of 24 skills centers nationwide, designed to provide equal opportunities for all Nigerians.
It's not about knowledge, it's not about skills alone, but it's about knowledge and skills. You know, many countries have grappled with from knowledge to skills, from skills to knowledge, you know, that sort of thing. But as we always said, you learn from the experiences of others. And from the experiences of others, you can live and avoid their challenges they face, you know, to achieve your goals.
Our success, because in each act there is an objective. The act that establishes the Polytechnic status one aims and objectives also that of university education. But it doesn't mean that there is not going to be an area of overlap and collaborations.
Executive Secretary of the National Board for Technical Education, Professor Idris Bugaji, emphasized that the Nigerian Skills Quality Framework will create a standard for skills training, ensuring that qualifications are recognized and valued both locally and internationally. Minister of State for Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, is insisting that the health of police officers must be given priority for Nigeria to have a productive police force. She stated this while on an inspection tour of police force medical facilities in Abuja. Francis Form tells us more.
This is the hospital serving the entire MD Abubakar Mobile Police Barracks, Day and its environs. And here, Minister of State for Police Affairs is on a tour of the facility. she presented gifts and cash to some of the patients in the hospital. And from day, the minister's entourage off to Utako Force Medical Facilities. From Utako, she proceeded to Garki Police Hospital. Thereafter, the minister also visited the Muhammadu Buhari Police Hospital, Garki Area 11.
So thank you so much, ma'am.
He has gone around our facilities. He has seen some of the challenges we are facing, and I pray that help will come our way where it is necessary.
What I see is the drive for excellence. What I see is that dedication for duty. Just like, the police environment, even the police doctors, you see that they're dedicated to serving humanity, and I can assure them that, that under the watch of Mr. President, help will come. The police hospitals will be the best in Nigeria.
Francis from NTA News.
Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, is saying all major issues and problems associated with the national driver's license will soon be a thing of the past. He gave the assurance when he visited some facilities of the Corps in Abuja. Oyeyemi Ajayi gives us details.
And the Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, pinpointed repositioning the Corps towards a better service delivery of ensuring an effective road safety management in the country. Some contemplated how it can be achieved. For him, hitting the ground running requires visiting some facilities of the Corps to familiarize himself with the available. The Zone 7 Sector Command, the Kado Plant Farm, where driver's licenses are produced, and the Gwagwalada Farm, where number plates are as well produced, are some of the places he believes need more attention.
I want to assure the motoring public and the general public that we are committed to continue delivering quality service of all FRC products, and that the problem identified with national driver license will soon be a thing of the past.
He craved for more cooperation from the populace in quest for better road safety management in the country. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
We'll take another break. Do stay. You are watching NTA Network News on the network service of the NTA. Time now to bring in Benny with news in the world of business. Hello, Benny.
Thank you, Jumai. And talking business, the National Bureau of Statistics and its partners are laying foundation for policymakers and implementers to tackle poverty through the operationalization of multidimensional poverty index. The Statistician General of the Federation, Adeyemi Adeniro, at a technical workshop in Abuja said the NPI will be a working tool in line with the renewed whole priority areas of job creation, access to capital, inclusiveness, amongst other sustainable development goals.
Inform them of the specific pattern of poverty and the specific factors that need to be tackled in their domain to reduce the incidence of poverty. This is the added advantage that MPI brings to the table in the fight against poverty.
Of MPI through the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy and the implementation of the 8 priority areas of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The MPI provides us with the data and insights necessary to understand and address the specific needs of different communities where
change the narrative on poverty. It is no brainer that our social protection space needs to be strengthened.
And the latest Nigerian Treasury bills auction held yesterday unveiled a significant trend as investors leaned heavily towards the long-term 364-day bills while showing reluctance for the shorter-term 182-day bills. The auction raised a total of 278.4 billion naira in allotments, highlighting a pronounced divergence in investor preferences based on yield expectations and economic outlook. In the 364-day tenure, the government offered 179.89 billion naira, but the investor appetite significantly surpassed this amount, with total subscriptions reaching 677.42 billion naira. And quick look at the markets. Investors lost 84.58 billion naira as the all-share index declined by 0.15% to close at 99,134.85 basis points. At the end of today's trading session on the exchange, a total of 309.8 million shares in 6,765 deals, corresponding to a market value of 5.385 billion naira, were traded. Today's data shows 11% improvement in turnover, but 12% decline in deals. The current market capitalization is 56.1 trillion naira. On the aggregate, 117 equities participated in trading, ending with 17 gainers and 18 losers. Fidelity Bank recorded the highest volume of traded shares, followed by Access Holdings and Owando Nigeria. That is business news. Network News continues with Jumai. Jumai, you can take it away from here.
Always nice doing business with you, Benny. The Technical Working Group on Migration and Development has begun the review process of the National Migration Policy of 2015. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, with support from the International Organization for Migration, IOM, organized a session to improve social inclusion of migrants and social protection. Ruth Agwele reports.
Nigeria is said to be a country of origin, transit, and destination for migration. It has been 10 years since the nation adopted the National Migration Policy of 2015, which deals with migration management for Nigeria. In adapting to global changes and to be in tandem with best practices, the Technical Working Group on Migration and Development is reviewing the policy as part of commitment to support safe and legal migration in the country.
The evolving nature of migration, influenced by economic changes, social conditions, conflicts and global events, has made it a pivotal issue in global, regional and national development discourse to really look at the entire governance framework.
The Philippines is ready and open to share its experiences as well as the challenges that it encountered in the course of our management of migrants.
The Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrant and Internally Displaced Persons, Tijani Aliyu Ahmed, says Nigeria is committed to strengthening partnerships to ensure this policy continues to be relevant and effective in addressing evolving migration dynamics in the country.
We aim to create a well-informed and inclusive review process. Your contributions will help us shape a policy that addresses the needs and challenges of the stakeholders. The world is constantly changing, and our policies must adapt to these changes to remain effective and efficient.
The Technical Working Group, which comprises stakeholders from MDAs, civil society, and academia, is expected to initiate and ensure a unified and effective national migration policy review. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele.
And the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, has taken the campaign against sexual and gender-based violence this time around to Gwagwalada Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory. Now, the aim is to discuss the roles of all community stakeholders towards eradicating sexual and gender-based violence. Amina Baba Suleiman reports.
Of sexual and gender-based violence have been on the increase in recent times in the Federal Capital Territory. Most of the cases were recorded in the suburb areas of the Federal Capital. This therefore brought about awareness campaign to this community in Gwagwalada.
Thank God that people are coming to join hands with the governments to see how we can eradicate or at most bring to the minimum the menace in the society.
Like a self-school initiative, which is currently going on, is one of the projects that NSCDC created in order to reduce the incidences of violence against children in the school.
We should have systems in place that we have regular interactions with members of the community, because at that level you'll be able to prevent more cases. And as a health practitioner, we get to see a lot of these cases.
Professor Fatima Wazira Azi, the Director General of NAPTIP, said dialogue becomes paramount to create a supportive environment where victims feel safe to report cases of sexual and gender-based violence.
Issues of sexual and gender-based violence happens mostly at the community level, and we must all curate solutions that deals directly with these problems, and the solutions can only come from you as stakeholders.
Some concerns raised during the dialogue were issues of community and family interferences, protecting the offender, and witness intimidation to withdraw the charges. Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
Today is World Pest Day in Nigeria. Public health professionals are raising awareness about the risks associated with pests and implementing preventive measures against the impact of pests on human health. Salwa Khalil Ibrahim tells us more.
As small as they may be, rodents, termites, and insects can have devastating effect on health and the environment. Many people, however, rely on chemicals for pest control. These also, if not properly managed, can have consequences. But the best option is proper environmental hygiene.
Ensuring that food items are stored in safe and enclosed containers, while refuse are properly stored, disposed of sanitarily and regularly, is a sure way of keeping pests at bay. You have to be very careful of the type of pesticides. We don't call them pesticides you employ, because there are those that are even toxic to your own health.
The theme for this year's World Pest Day is Global Solution, Local Impact. The pest control sector is a huge business globally. In Nigeria, it is estimated at about 5 billion naira. However, Nigerians are advised to engage the services of only registered public health pest control service providers for their safety. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
The news will continue shortly. Welcome back. Let's join Charles Alpha on Global Update.
1944, Allied forces stormed Omaha Beach to defeat Nazi forces who had taken hold in many towns and villages in the northern region. About 9,843 troops from the US, Britain, and Canada were killed. 8 years later, the invasion holds relevance in the history of not only the Germans, but the US, Canadian, and Britons. US President Joe Biden at the Omaha Beach said the D-Day and the Battle of Normandy 8 years ago were a powerful illustration that alliances make countries stronger, citing NATO as an example.
The men who fought here became heroes, not because they were the strongest or toughest or fiercest, although they were. Every one of them knew the probability of dying was real.
French President Emmanuel Macron hailed the fallen soldiers and the veterans, saying they left all behind and took all the risk for independence and freedom. Elsewhere, an extraordinary meeting is scheduled to take place inside the historic Dolmabahce Palace in the city of Istanbul, and will, among other things, discuss humanitarian assistance and other necessary relief materials. The meeting, scheduled for Saturday, the 8th of June, is expected to draw the attention of the global community to the situation of the residents of Gaza Strips. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
And that's the news tonight. Thanks so much for your time. I am Jummai Yusuf.